Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And welcome to this, our official Georgia launch of the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety. My name is Jennie Glasgow. I'm the state coordinator for Operation Lifesaver here in Georgia, and I'm also the governor's appointee to the National Association of Women Highway Safety Leaders. We're so excited and thrilled to have you here today. I'd like to mention that all over the world today, of course, different time zones, different times, many cities are conducting similar launches, kickoffs for the decade as we are doing here this morning. But we are so honored to have all of you here today. And before we begin the program, I'd like to acknowledge just a few people that are here with us today in case you don't know each other. If you will, when I call out your name or your agency, just go ahead and raise your hand. First of all, Captain Ronnie Rhodes. He is a Capitol Police for Georgia Public Safety / Georgia State Patrol. And we're honored and happy to have you here with us today. Keith Phillips, Georgia DOT in the sun. Thank you, Keith. Elizabeth Hudd, Federal Railroad Administration. Tom Thompson, Federal Transit Administration. I think our federal highway person isn't here yet, nor is our CDC representative. They may be running a little late, but they'll be coming. We're also thrilled to have Mike St. Germain with us today from UPS, Guy Young, Georgia Motor Trucking Association, and Harold D. Pearson from Norfolk Southern Railway, who is also the lead instructor in Georgia for the law enforcement grade crossing collision investigation courses. Thank you, Keith. We also have a couple of representatives here today from the Georgia Federation of Women's Clubs, one of whom will be speaking to us later. And we have some PEDS staff members here. If you'd raise your hand. PEDS. And also I'd need to acknowledge some of our Operation Lifesaver volunteers who are here with us today. They are probably three of the most hardworking, diligent volunteers you could ever have or want to help us in traffic safety. So if you guys back there would raise your hand. First of all, we have John Cross, who also is a coordinator for drivers for our big Operation Lifesaver mobile exhibit truck. And Kathleen O'Malley Brown next to him. And over here is our favorite unpaid photographer and videographer, Bob Lebo. Bob spends half his time in California, and we get him here in Georgia the rest of the time. Again, I want to welcome all of you here today. This really is a special occasion. Never before has any group like the United Nations ever put together an initiative that is so broad and far-reaching. And again, it's called the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety. But two components in that initiative are safer roads all over the world, not just here in our own country, but all over the world, and also safer driver behavior. And most of us here today are involved in that. So again, I want to welcome you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our Director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Mr. Harris Blackwood. Harris, welcome.
In the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, one thing that we have learned that works is working together. We know that when our state officials, our local officials, our county officials, our police agencies, our social service agencies, and our medical community work together, we get results. What we are seeing today is just an expansion of that outreach, that we are not going to only work together with our neighbors in Georgia or with our neighbors in other states, as we already do here in our state, but we're going to reach out around the world to make sure that driving safely, being safe on our roads is a priority for any country where traffic safety is an issue, and that's every country. We are honored to be a part of this day, and our thanks, of course, to Jennie Glasgow, who is the most tireless volunteer I've ever seen. She is one of those who has been doing this for more years than a lot of us have been on the planet. But she is a tireless volunteer, and we are honored to call her our friend and a loyal volunteer in our agency. And we are blessed by her work to make this great event begin today and continue for the next decade, not only in Georgia, but all around the world. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harris, and thank you for those kind words. I'm truly looking forward to continuing to work with your agency, and I'm glad you didn't say exactly how many years I've been doing this. Now I'm going to call up a longtime associate and friend who is the Regional Director for the Southeastern States for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, otherwise known as NHTSA, Terry Schiavone.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for that kind introduction and really for taking the time to put this event together, Jenny. A lot of hard work went into this. Well, I'm honored to be here representing the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and more specifically Region 4, which encompasses the states of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee, as we do our part for kicking off the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety. In hundreds of locations all across the world, similar kickoffs are taking place with the goal, after 10 years, to have saved 5 million lives and prevent 50 million serious injuries caused by traffic crashes. A lofty goal, to say the least. As most of you who are assembled here today know, reducing, hopefully someday eliminating, the needless tragedies caused by traffic crashes takes the efforts of many organizations and individuals working in concert with one another. I have been fortunate to witness firsthand for the past 7 years as Regional Administrator of NHTSA's Region 4 office the great results that cooperation has had for the people in the Southeast. In 2004, my first year on the job, 8,417 people died in the Southeast due to traffic crashes. In 2009, that number had dropped 22% to 6,573. And when the final numbers are released for 2010, that number will be even lower, closer to a 25% reduction. That didn't happen in a vacuum. That happened because government agencies like NHTSA, the Federal Highway Administration, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, the Centers for Disease Control, the Federal Railroad Administration, the Federal Transit Administration, and many others, to mention a few, worked hand in hand with their partners at the state and local level, the highway safety offices, the state and local law enforcement agencies, motor vehicle administrators, state DOTs, local health agencies, and organizations like MAD, the National Safety Council, SAD, Operation Lifesavers, and the Federation of Women's Clubs, and so many others, to identify where people were dying on the roads and then work together to make positive changes. Every state in the Southeast now has a primary safety belt law. They have a .08 blood alcohol concentration law. Commercial driver's license standards were strengthened. Our public roads have been made safer by addition of rumble strips and impact attenuators, median barriers, and design improvements. Our emergency medical system is better equipped to help save the life of someone involved in a traffic crash today than ever before. Our cars protect us better. Our railroad crossings have been made safer, and a majority of our citizens have gotten the message that risk-taking while driving a motor vehicle won't be tolerated by law enforcement in the Southeast. Now, we know until the number of crashes and deaths reach zero from people dying on our roadways, our work won't be done. But I am confident that when the rest of the world acts together the way the people in the Southeast did to address road safety issues, the lofty goals that they've set for themselves will be met in 10 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry, as always. And because I wasn't going to introduce our speakers, knowing I'd be calling them up earlier, I neglected to introduce Connie Beasley from NHTSA, who's here with Terry today. Connie also, many of you know her, has been around a while, maybe not quite as long as I have, but Connie and I have enjoyed working together for many, many years. And in case you're wondering, thinking I neglected to introduce what's over here on my left, you may have already recognized our Bea Buckler B that has been around for many, many years, and we're going to do a special introduction in a little bit when I call up another speaker.